Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. It's the weekend, which means only one thing. It's time for that weekly news roundup. As always, we will begin with FPGA gaming news, the MiSTer, the Analogue Pocket, and well, any other FPGA gaming news out there. After that, we'll move over to some random and retro gaming news. Now, if you are not subscribed to the channel, then hey, a subscription and a like is super duper appreciated, as is turning on those notification bells. If you wish to support the channel further, I do have a Patreon set up, so do check that out. And let's check out the sponsor of the weekly news show, Zapparoo. They're moving into like new things, but hey, they do NFC and they do NFC loading best. But guess what? They're currently working on a front end. We'll look at that later in the video. And finally, guys, before we pack it up and pack it in and begin, check out Free Play City, London's best arcade. Let's start this week's video with this really interesting news. Guess what? The SNES core has received an update for the MiSTerFPGA. Those changes have also been brought over to a version of the Analogue Pocket core. And what exactly does this new core give us? Well, it gives us compatibility with these carts over here, competition carts for the Super Nintendo. I was not aware of these until like this core kind of came to surface, and I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. So there were 4 games in this range. There was a Star Fox one and a Donkey Kong Country competition cart. Those were already available. It had 1 game on the cartridge. However, there were these other 2 carts, right? One of them, well, both of them have 3 games on there, like this one here, Super Mario World. The object is to get 50 coins, or the aim is to get 50 coins as quickly as you can, and there you go. I got them there, probably not in record time. And then you move over to the next challenge, F0, before moving over to Pilot Wings, and it's absolutely fantastic. So we've got this on the MiSTer, and it's also been ported over to the Analogue Pocket. So a big shout out to SRG320 for implementing those changes, Adam Gastignou for originally bringing the core over to the Analogue Pocket, and the hero of the moment, Terminator 2K2, for actually implementing the latest MiSTer changes onto the Analogue Pocket. Now, these aren't currently available via update tool for both the MiSTer and the Analogue Pocket. Hopefully that will change in the future. But for now, if you want to grab these, well, then just head over to Metal Game Solid. There's a post going over the MiSTer stuff, and it goes over all the different games on here. There you go. Nintendo Campus Challenge, Nintendo Power Fest 94, Star Fox Weekend or Super Star Fox Weekend, Donkey Kong Country competition cartridge. And down here it tells you, for Donkey Kong Country, they were around 2,500 made, and once these were kind of done, because they were never released in retail, they were sold to subscribers of a Nintendo, I think Nintendo Power magazine or Nintendo Power catalog. It says it up here, and some people were able to buy it for around $45. If you're one of those people, definitely reach out, let me know. Or if you're one of the people that entered the competition, then definitely let me know. But when it comes to the 2 that have just been given compatibility, the 3-in-1, those ones, there's only either 2 or 3 copies of each one known to be out there. So you literally are playing a piece of history, something that's expensive, and it's amazing to see what we are getting in FPGA gaming. And having a look at eBay listing, the Donkey Kong one is currently going for $15,000, and the Star Fox one is going for $4,200. So absolutely amazing. And if you want to download the Analogue Pocket core, head over to Metal Game Solid, yeah, just check this over here. Download files that you need required here. It's a separate core. Sorry, this is the MiSTer one, by the way. Yeah, so you add the core to your MiSTer. There'll be instructions here, or just normal way you add stuff. And for the Analogue Pocket, there is a separate core. So as well as having the AG23 core, you've got the take of Terminator 2K2's core on there. So when you do add this one in there, just remember, go to change core, change it from AG's core to Terminator 2K2's core, and it will give you these new changes that will let you run the competition cards. I definitely recommend playing these. I think they're really, really good, especially now with holiday season coming up. When you've got friends around and everyone says, hey, I'm the best at Super Mario World, I'm the best at F0, then you know what? Put your money where your mouth is and run a competition and see who can get this. Definitely worth checking out. I had a lot of fun doing the video. I was a bit tired last night when I was doing it, but it was definitely a lot of fun. Let's check this tweet out from ℾ𝒾𝓈, who is a member of the Coin-Op collection, and they are working on bringing Snow Brothers over to FPGA gaming for devices such as the MiSTer and the Analogue Pocket, and this is the core in action. This is something that they're working on. I have no idea when this is going to get released, but hey, because there's snow involved, I would not be surprised if this got released either the 24th or the 25th of December. So hopefully soon, but hey, that's no indication. And over here, ℾ𝒾𝓈 says, made a lot of progress today on my Snow Brothers core, still need to fix the Y inversion calculation for sprites. I'll finish up tomorrow and go back to Pyrus Wardener. Once that boosts past the post checks, it will be smooth sailing. So looking forward to this whenever it comes out. Snow Brothers was a banger in the arcade game. Bubble Bobble will always be the original single screen platformer for me, but this will probably be my favorite. There's been a lot of silence around SuperStationOne for the last month or so, and there has been a lot of social media posts from ℾ𝒾𝓈𝓈, the main person behind the company that's releasing the SuperStationOne via a company called Retro Remake. So let's check this out. So they showed some pictures and things are looking really, really good. In fact, after I did this, I did a video on this during the week, and I know Video Game Esoterica did a video, and someone in Video Game Esoterica's comment said that they actually received the tracking number. So I'm not able to verify that or anything, it's just a random comment, but I definitely hope that is true, right? This just looks really, really good. And I have to kind of point out here as well that over here, if you look up here on the PCBs, you can see names here. Yale, Wang, is there Wang, Sarah, David. So the team are signing those PCBs. I know a lot of people have been waiting for them, but if that comment on the VGE video is true and tracking numbers are being given out, hopefully people will get these in time for Christmas. So yeah, SuperStationOne, progress being made. It is looking good. PCBs are there. They're all getting put together. And yeah, SuperStationOne is coming. So the Nintendo 64 core has been updated for the MiSTerFPGA, and what's amazing is the developer Robert Pape is working on the Mod Retro M64, and one of the things they stated when they began working on that is anything they can bring back over to the MiSTer to improve the existing core, they will, and they are living up to their word, and they have made some changes or made some improvements to the MiSTerFPGA core. Now, you may not notice everything in there, but what happens is there's a benchmarking tool that tests for accuracy, and currently the latest version of the core is getting 100%. So that is absolutely freaking amazing. It may be, I'm not sure if it's implemented in the main yet, or you may need to kind of grab it from the Nintendo 64 channel on the MiSTerFPGA Discord server, which you can see over here. So very, very interesting to see that. Now, when it comes to playing retail games, guys, you may not even notice a difference, but it may be some homebrew games, some aftermarket games that use some of the features of the Nintendo 64, some of the hardware features that aren't used by retail games, and they should work now. This core is getting better, and it's amazing to see Robert revisiting it and improving it in any way he can. So guys, just kind of point out, you don't need to rush out and get this unless you've got something very, very particular that isn't working and requires that specific part of the hardware to be implemented. For most people out there that are playing the retail catalog, this is not a requirement. However, it is just amazing the lengths developers go to add even a little bit more accuracy just to make it as close to hardware as possible. And by the way, guys, if you haven't played Xeno Crisis, play it. You can play it anywhere. That's the N64 version running, and it runs superb on the Nintendo 64. But yeah, amazing seeing the N64 getting updates for the MiSTerFPGA. Well guys, it looks like the Fizzo is back in Wizzo. Okay, I've repeated that joke because I've done a tweet with that, but it just sounds good, right? The Fizzo is back in Wizzo. It just means like he's fizzing again. Hopefully not at the mouth, because that's known as rabies. Wizzo, if you're watching this, I'm only joking. You're a good man, you're a good buddy. So, Wizzo, who we know for the Zapparoo project, amazing NFC stuff, well, he's working on a front end, and it looks really, really good. This is a work in progress. It isn't currently available, and Wizzo, whenever you're ready to share it with me so I can demo it to the people. But hey, it does look good. Now, I always say I like the simplicity of the MiSTer. However, I also like choices, and I do like messing around with this stuff, especially in live streams and everything like that. So let's have a look at some of the other stuff that they're showing here. Gotta love the MiSTer wallpapers. Look how good that one is, right? That one is like Metal Game Solid. There you go. It's running. It just looks absolutely superb. Can't wait to see where Wizzo takes this. Wizzo's very, very talented. He's done a lot with the Zapparoo universe, and it'd be nice to see what kind of integration that we get. If we have a look at this post over here, he's running it on a CRT, and it looks good in CRT, but I feel like there's some compression there or something that's just making the image not look as good as it really should. And I can see the snowy festivity kind of stuff there. So amazing stuff. Do let me know what you think about this. Do you want a front end? What kind of front end do you want? And this is something that you like. But amazing stuff from Wizzo. I'm always an advocate for choice. Whether I like something or whether I'm going to use it personally is irrelevant. It's out there for people to use and enjoy, and that's what it's about. So freaking good work, Wizzo. Glad to see you got your Fizzo back. A really interesting tweet here from Raki, also known as @RCA_Victor_Co over on X. So, and just released the alpha version of my revised UPD78C11 core. The C chip, ASIC, and full package are not yet ready. Not too big, will consume about 1200 ALMs on MiSTer. This means there's almost no difference in footprint size compared to aka OPM. Right, what does this mean? Well, The UPD78C11 is used in games, title games, not limited to these, but stuff like Superman, another favorite of mine, Rainbow Islands, a banger of a game, in fact one of my favorite games of all time, and as well as that Operation Wolf. There are more games, but these were the heaviest hitters, so I thought I'd mention them. I'd love to get these free games on FPGA devices, especially Superman and Rainbow Islands, but Operation Wolf would be good as well because I do have a Sinden light gun and that would be interesting to play. So amazing work from Raki, lots and lots of contributions, and just making FPGA game freaking awesome. So hopefully we will see these get implemented in the future. Absolutely no timeline, it could be years away, but hey, a step is a step. In this section of the video is where we talk about unstable cores that were released in the last week. So the Nintendo 64 received an unstable update, as well as that the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, received 3 updates. It is just getting more and more accurate and more mappers are getting added. The PlayStation core received 2 updates. The CDI core actually received an update as well. That's something I wanted to check out, but just didn't have the time. And as well as that, the Super Nintendo received an update that we saw at the beginning of this video. So absolutely amazing, all this stuff happening for MiSTer. If you always want to test the latest and the greatest features, it's worth testing these out. Most of these are available on the MiSTerFPGA Discord server. There's always an invite link in the weekly news video. Jero from over on my Discord, she posted this earlier. So Pixel Cherry Ninja, I figured out how to get the ED64 Plus working on the Analogue 3D. Someone on Facebook suggested soldering pins 1 and 2 on the cartridge together to get it working, but I found a better solution to keep the pins clean. You just need to solder the right side of the R7 to the ground pad as seen here. Now remember guys, do this at your own risk, but I will leave a link to this particular post over on my Discord server. There's always an invite link to my Discord server in the weekly news video as well. So if you do want to check this out and pick Jero's brains, please go ahead and do so. The ED64, from what I understand, is like a clone of the EverDrive. So interesting stuff. If you have one of these and you have an Analogue 3D, there's a way or a cleaner way of getting it to work. Feel free to drop in the Discord and ask some questions. And Jero, thank you. Really cool over here. So the Slapfight core recently was updated by Anton Gell, and guess what? It was updated for the MiSTer first, but the Pocket has also received an update, as you can see, 3 days ago. So Anton Gell Slapfight should be available via the updaters. I haven't tested it yet, again, just time and restrictions. However, if not, you can download it manually, but it should be available via the updaters. So Slapfight, if that's something you want to slap about this weekend, then maybe give this a shot. Let's now talk about the Anduril Chromatic, right? So what is the Chromatic? The Chromatic was a take on the Game Boy Color, an FPGA take on the Game Boy Color that is based on the MiSTerFPGA Game Boy and Game Boy Color core, or the cores. It's something that I don't personally have, but anyone I know that bought like the original one, which I think was around £200, they said they really liked it, and it does a good job of being a modern Game Boy. People really liked it. As well as that, Chromatic are releasing original games, so people are kind of reliving that nostalgia by buying new games in cartridges to play on that. However, this one here has caused a bit of controversy over on the internet, with some media outlets saying that this is the final straw and we are not following this anymore. I kind of had to think about it and think what my stance was on this, and I just thought to myself, well, you know what, irregardless of whether I like something or I dislike something, or I like someone or I dislike someone, if it's news in FPGA gaming, I'm going to cover it. You, the audience, can make up your own mind as to whether you want to back something or you don't want to back something. You like someone, or you like something, or you dislike someone, or you hate someone. That's completely up to you. Regardless of what I feel, this is going up in sale. You can buy it right now. And I think what the controversy here is Anduril is a weapons manufacturer that's owned by the same individual that owns Mod Retro. So what they're essentially doing is they're bringing some of that weapons company branding into, well, this FPGA gaming device. And some people aren't happy about it. Some people are happy about it. And it's also made with the same metal that's used on drones, the weapons drones that this company sells. So again, that's going to appeal to some people and that's going to horrify some people. I'm not stating any opinions on this. All I'm telling you guys, it is out there. Make up your own mind whether you want it or whether you want to stay away from it. But either way, it looks like it's happening. I came across this interesting tweet that led me to an article, and it's this one over here. So FPGA Famicom for beginners, building the Hello World CPU. Now I ran this past a couple of developer friends and they said while this is good, it uses a really high-end language that isn't very common. However, if you do want to give it a shot and work out like how to initially program a Famicom and just get hello world working on an FPGA, you might want to check this out. So having a look at it over here, I think it's in Japanese, but hey, you can translate it. There you go. I'm going to translate it into English. Some stuff may be lost in translation, but here you go, guys. If you want to become a developer and you're interested, maybe check this out and see what works for you. So a quick one here, this was interesting. So someone asked, Bitmap Bureau, do you have plans to release the game on retro consoles like you did for Xenocrisis? So they are talking about Terminator 2D No Fate. Is that coming out for retro consoles? And Bitmap Bureau have answered yes, but we won't be announcing exactly which platforms yet. So that's platforms with a plural, it means it's going to be more than one. My bet would be maybe Neo Geo, Mega Drive, N64, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance. Okay, I'm just chucking formats out there based on the previous releases like Xenocrisis. Either way, this will be a welcome addition to play this on an older console. If you haven't tried out Terminator 2D yet, play it. It is a brilliant game. It's short, but it is so much fun, man. It feels like you're reliving that movie in that golden arcade era. Anyway, check it out. A special thank you out to my buddy Phil, who actually sent me a message while he was on holiday. He was like, hey Pixel, have you seen this? Knowing that I'm a Street Fighter fan. Street Fighter for the Atari XL and the Atari XE. Now, I had the 800 XL, and I would have soiled my pants if this came out for that computer. Mind you, when I had it, I don't think Street Fighter 1 was out, or maybe it was. Street Fighter 2 definitely wasn't. This looks amazing. Like, okay, it doesn't, like when you look at the arcade version, you think, what the heck am I playing? But rewind back to the days of like the 8-bit Atari computers. This is fantastic. Now, I did try running this on the MiSTer on the Atari, was it 800 or 800? Yeah, I think it's the Atari 800 core. I couldn't get it loading, but hopefully I can look into this more and get this up and running. But absolutely amazing. Love seeing this stuff, man. Atari getting some love, and we finally get our Street Fighter 2. So Infidelity, this dude here has released so many games that have gone from the NES to the SNES, using the horsepower of the SNES to make NES games better, less flickering, and I love the custom intros he puts in there. This one here is Contra Force. Now I'm going to be completely honest, I wanted to do a dedicated video on this during the week, and when I started playing it, I don't like this game, right? I still think it's important that this stuff happens because there are fans of this game out there, but I prefer like the previous games he's done because I have nostalgia attached to them, stuff like DuckTales, the Turtles game, just to name a couple. But Contra Force, not something that I ever played. If that's something you played, then you might want to play the SNES version. I think this version doesn't have the sound yet, or the MSU one sounds yet. It's the kind of game just going from NES to SNES. Either way, it's good stuff to check out. I do like it, and Infidelity, dude, I really do appreciate your work. The work you do is amazing. So do let me know if you kind of played this game, but in all honesty, I kind of prefer the normal Contra, but maybe if I had nostalgia for it, I'd like it some more. Either way, NES to SNES, more stuff happening. Okay guys, so that wraps it up for this episode. I really do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then a subscription and a like is always super duper appreciated. Be freaking awesome to one another, guys. I'll see you around. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.